going on, guys? This is Greg from Mid-Pacific here at the wonderful Ambit Studios in Maryville, Illinois. Thought I'd take this opportunity to show you guys just some of the gear that I'm using to record guitar for our new album. So here we go. So we'll start over here with guitars. This first one is my Parts Stratocaster. I just recently got this thing all put together with the help of my wonderful fiance and my buddy Al. So big shout out to them for helping me get this thing going. But it's a Squire body with a all parts maple neck and Fender Fat 50s pickups. Thing sounds absolutely incredible and I couldn't be happier with it. It's been a big help on this album as far as adding textures to a lot of my guitar lines. This next one is my main E-flat guitar. This is a Michael Kelly Patriot Decree that I swapped out the pickups and put a Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge and a Jazz in the neck. If you guys haven't heard of Michael Kelly guitars, they are absolutely fantastic for the money, and I couldn't be happier with it. It's lasted probably 4 or 5 years now as my main guitar through all the gigging I've done, and never given me a single problem, so can't argue with that. This next one is my standard guitar, and this is also a Michael Kelly. This one's a Michael Kelly Valor Custom. After I bought the first one, I really wanted another one because I was really impressed with the build quality on these Michael Kellys. So I found this one on eBay for a good price, expecting that I would want to swap out the pickups for some Seymour Duncans like I did with the other one, but as it turns out, these has some Rockfield SWC pickups in it that, to my ear at least, are very similar in how they respond to the Duncans that I have in my other guitar. So I just left them in because they sound great and I really like them. So next thing I'll show you guys is my amp. This is a Fender The Twin. It's been my main amp for a couple of years. There's my settings there, if you guys are interested. The thing sounds absolutely incredible. It's a little different from, say, a twin reverb. It's got a few different options on it, mainly of which is this low and high power mode, which I'm actually only running it with 2 power tubes. And in the low power mode, it runs at 15 watts, which is a little different from what most guys would want out of a big Fender amp like this. But for me, it's absolutely perfect. I like to be able to control a certain amount of my overdrive with just the dynamics of my playing. So with the gain on about 5, if I really dig in, I can start to really break up the amp before I even hit any pedals. So for my playing style, it works absolutely perfectly. Alright, so last but certainly not least is my pedal board. Pretty basic setup, but it does everything I need it to do. The only thing I may really add in the future is maybe like a big muff or some kind of fuzz pedal, just for some variation in my drives. But it all starts over here with this Korg pitch black tuner. Had a few tuners over the years. I've had the Boss TU2 as well. And this one to me just always appealed to me a little bit better. I think probably because it has a little bit bigger screen, so it's easier to read, and it's just really accurate and really rugged, so I've kept it all these years. Next, we run into this Morley Volume Plus pedal. It's an optical volume pedal, so there's no pots or anything to get scratchy, so it's just really consistent, really smooth volume swell. I use that for volume swells, and then sometimes I'll use it with my overdrive to control my gain a little bit for different parts of songs. But sounds really good. Then next, I actually don't run into my overdrive. I actually run into this Road Rage 2-channel looper. And the reason I run a looper is so that I can keep my signal chain fairly short if I'm not using these 4 pedals that are in the loops, and just keep the sound of my guitar going to my amp as pure as I possibly can. So in channel 1 of the looper, I've actually got my Proco Rat, which is one of my favorite overdrives of all time. I've had quite a few over the years, and this is the one I just keep coming back to. It just sounds like my sound, and for me, it's irreplaceable. So I love that. And then in the second loop, I'm almost running this like my effects loop. That's kind of what I've tried to do here. Is it's like channel, overdrive channel on an amp, and then effects loop. But in this loop, I've got the TR2 tremolo, absolutely great pedal. I kind of have it on what I call the Smith setting, which basically is, that Smith's How Soon Is Now tremolo sound, which is something that I really dig on. And then it runs into this Phase 90 by MXR. Great phaser. I've also got a vintage Electro-Harmonix Smallstone Russian one, which I love as well. It's just a little bit too big to put on this board, and the switch on it is going out, and it sounds great, but it's not exactly reliable on a day-to-day basis. So I use it in the studio sometimes, but mainly it's this guy now. And then I go into a Boss DD5, which is one of my favorite delays of all time. It's really clean, really versatile. Typically I run it in the tap tempo quarter notes setting. Sometimes I'll run it in the dotted eighth setting depending on the song. And then I have it feeding off of this Saturn Works tap tempo pedal, which this is really good. I just got this. I used to have a Boss FS5U, but the thing kept going out on me, so I finally just replaced it with something better. And then the last pedal I changed comes out of the looper and into this Mod Tone vintage analog delay. The reason I don't run this in the loop like the other pedals is, A, it's kind of an all-purpose delay for me. I'm not a huge fan of reverb, at least not for guitar. To me, reverb just always sounds a little too washy for me. So I run this on a really mild setting, and that's kind of how I get my space and a little bit more of a reverb vibe when I'm doing solos, or if I just need to kind of add more space to a riff. And then the other reason is this has a buffer in it. It's not a true bypass. It does have a buffer, and I actually really like the sound of this buffer. So I like that being the last in my chain before it goes out to my amp. So any signal that I would lose kind of gets brought back up. And that's the gist of it. Like I said, soon I may be adding that fuzz pedal in there, which will go in this first loop with the overdrive. But beyond that, I've been really happy with this setup. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and expect to see some more videos coming from us at Mid-Pacific. Take it easy.